Hey, folks, how are you? Artie Farty here. Coming live to you guys from city of Port Kembla, or suburb of Port Kembla. Just a quick hi to everybody. Who do I have? I have Ron, Anthony, Devold, Thomas, Splitrock, Randall, and myself. So anyway, okay, got an issue with a car here in the background. It's going to keep beeping. We'll go up on the platform here. I was going to continue my walk from where I continued off last week, but due to my trip to Sydney on Tuesday and some more symptoms, I was suspecting I might have the showstopper, and I'm still waiting for my results. So instead of going around with the crowds and whatnot, I thought I'll skip a few spots and come down here to Port Kembla, which is one of the main terminuses within our area. It's a engine facility and basically a commuter station, one of the terminuses for the commuter trains. This is one of our double deckers. And on these two side tracks here, this is where they stored all the passenger trains at night. Here. Hello, Rick, how are you? And that was that building in the background there used to be Robinson's Transport. Used to pack all the steel and commodities that came off the ships onto the train carriages and road. 2 mile left is Freight Rail or National Pacific National's maintenance facility. It was part of the New South Wales Government Railways diesel shop. Good place to model. While this train's still in here, I'll let you guys have a quick peek in the inside. Well, I walk down towards the storage facility where they got the sanding for the sand and the diesel and whatnot for the engines. This is one of our newer double deckers. I don't know how long till she departs, but gives you a bit of a view of what it's like in here. That's the bottom deck. Then you've got your top deck up here. Your security cameras. Hey Gary, how are you? Of course, our brick thicker building. It's not the original building that used to be here. This is only a 4-car local service, so this is only going to go up probably about a dozen or so stops, and it's going to go ahead of the express. They're not bad trains to travel on, but g'day Container Man, how are you? But I prefer the old V sets, what we called V sets. They were more comfortable. There was more room in the seat in the cars. Oh yeah, they do. It's all about dollars, eh? I see, Ron, if you guys down in Melbourne have a bit of common sense, you guys would have had these too. I'll just pan over here. There's an old Alco. They came out in the early 80s. It's only probably about only 10 of that still in survival. And you've got your diesel fueling shed up in the background there. In here, the fuel comes in by road. the unloading facility for the road tankers. And here you got your tower for your sanding tower, where they're actually store the sand, and it gets blown under pressure to the sheds in the distance. It's not gravity fed, it's pneumatically, hey Lee, it's on a pneumatic pressure. I don't know if there's many engines here at the moment because Pacific National has lost a contract to cut the steel out of Port Kembla Steelworks. So, hey Rick, how are you, mate? Sludge tank for all the water and fuel and whatnot that comes out of the mains facility all gets in here and gets recycled before it goes out into the ocean. Then you've got CRM, which is an old where they used to fabricate certain types of steel. Now, the original platform used to finish off where this old brick building is, so we'll walk our way to here. There is a pneumatic sanding car down here too. I spied when I came in. Here she is here. That's your that's how they carry the sand, the dry sand, to the loco facilities around New South Wales and the state in carriages like that. It's one of the service sheds in here, one of three. And you've got all your old Pacific National engines being stored there at the moment. You can just see the tip here. You've got one of the old Alcos, last Alcos that were made in Australia, and a 4th generation Alco. You'll just see the rough one in between the two 281s. That's equivalent to your RS2s in the US. Yeah, that's how we cut our sand for the loco facilities here. I've got a couple of those cars in my model collection. You know, I don't know what's happening with these engines at the moment. As I said, Pacific National lost its contract here in the steel mill. Hopefully that Alco won't get scrapped. The 81s here, they're equivalent to the SD42s in the US. They got the same motive power, but they just got control cabin on each side. So this here used to be the staff and crib room, and as well as a switching tower for this area here. It used to be known as Port Kembla North, or Port Kembla here. Port Kembla North, sorry, is on the other end where I done the live walk and talk, which is way over the other side there. We may get up to it a bit later on down the track. So here's your full service facility with your sanding tower up the top. That 80 class in the background there, the old Alco, she looks a bit sad, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's ready to be going under the torch. They are scrapping a lot of equipment in the area at the moment. It's a neat little facility to to model. And that shed in the background, hey Al, that shed in the background there used to be an old brickworks. Now it's turned into a truck depot. There you see they're all lined up at the moment. The only thing they'll be mainly used for now is the coal and the grain going up and down the mountains. And that's looking in. Now, there is CTC actually finishes CTC has some control along this line here up to the speed sign, just in the distance there, and the main line out. Everything else is actually controlled and maintained within the actual facility in Wollongong. Hey Almal, how are you? Where you see the white building in the background there, that was actually what we call Still Haven, which was where they originally did the originally had the scrapyard for the steel mill and the furnaces. The alignment through here is actually CTC does start from here. The CTC, but all the lines from basically here inwards is actually controlled locally and manually. Most of the switching around here, or the track work, is close to the original, to what it used to be back in the late 60s and early 70s, with a few changes, of course. We did have electrified locomotives, but some bean counters thought they were too expensive, apart from Shazzy's cracking. So this is basically Port Kembla, which is the terminus. I'll walk over top of the bridge, but we will be walking our way over to the side there where the new container wharf is going. Now, for you guys in US, as you can see, yeah, we don't use tray horns here. We'll just sneak up on you. Goes to show you how quiet these trains are. So it's going to Thirroul, which is probably about a dozen or so stations up. Yep. Hey Carolina, how are you? Hey Slack Cat. So yeah, you still got the old facilities on the side here. Oh, they're not old. I mean, those, like that train that went out through there, it's got toilet facilities in it. So they got all these water and servicing facility for the carriages. There's an old car sitting up at the end there. I don't know what it's doing there, because it's supposed to be part of the main loop that goes around the yard. We'll soon find out anyway. Yeah, we'll walk over towards the other end of the diesel facility. Yeah, I can't quite see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad, Slack Chat. I still got a splitting migraine, and it's actually starting to consume me a bit. I'm waiting for the results to come back from the lab. I'm really hoping it's not the showstopper. So you can actually just see. So yeah, I just have to take it as it comes every day. So you got your track in the far side there that goes into that yard. That's actually part of the original line that was still left behind. From the 10th of January, most public transport services across New South Wales will run to a reduced timetable. As you can see, most of our lines here are using concrete ties. It does make the trains a lot quieter. You have an odd one there where you can actually see old tipper tyres. They're slowly moving away from them. So, yeah, look, I'm not worried. Well, I am worried, but I'm not worried. I've taken all the other precautions. But we just have some people that are still out and about that not taking it seriously. So, I'm not going to get into it here. But long story is, I don't want to get it. It's hell. When I've had something like it, I've got something similar to it. About 8-9 years ago, and I'm still suffering for it today. So, so in that tank over there, you got the blue loo. Naturally air conditioned waiting rooms. So you get your way down here, you get your free sweat bath and sauna. You don't have to pay exorbitant amounts of money. Yeah. Oh, I've just noticed something. Up around the end of the tracks here, there used to be some switches, particularly at the end here, down here. But when we had diesel haul passenger trains, so what they had to do was they used to uncouple and run around the train. Oh, we do have some cockerel sleepers there, then you. So that's where the tie was. The switch was around in this part here. And there was another one on the other side track there. This is where they stored all the diesel engines. Okay, I've got a guest waiting. Hang on a minute, let me get him up. He can help me with reading the comments.
Hey.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Glad you can join and you read me comments and whatnot and help us out and enjoy the view of
Sure.
my area here.
Can you hear me okay? Oh, where'd he go? I lost him. Well, hello, Melvin, Carolina, Foothills Railroad, Slag Cat, Chesapeake, Ohio. There you are. Where'd you go, man?
I'm here. I'm just trying to make it just a little bit shorter, smaller.
Yeah. Nope, now I'm on the full screen. I don't know if there's anything I can do on my end. Let's see. Hey, Creepy 13, Randall Ellison. How are you, buddy? Elmar, Ryan Brights, Ian, how you doing? Ron Moen, Anthony Dodge, Rick from Full Spaley. How's it going?
Stupid smartphones.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to have to deal with this the way I am now anyway, so
Yeah.
unless you, I don't know if you can change it or not on your end there, Dave.
I don't think like, I don't think I can. I don't think I have control of that.
All right, okay.
Anybody else has any ideas on how?
Yeah.
Hey, Rick. Fultz Bailey Monterero says it's hey Dave, great show. Uh, he's saying hi to me. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm researching some different mics, things like that. I know I've had some issues with mics and stuff.
Well, this one that you're using now,
Much
you
better.
sound a lot better, even
Yeah.
with, like, especially if when been listening to your streams on my phone, you sound very muffled, but this one here sounds very nice and clear.
Oh, good. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And I tried to use this last time, the wired one, and I think the mic was almost too close or it was too loud. Some of it might be in my settings because I don't know that I mean, I always sound the way I sound. I have a rough voice and I mumble and all that. I know that. I do try to work on that. But I don't know if I changed something in my settings and things have just been way more muffled, way more whatever.
That can happen. That can happen.
So I've been trying to play around with that a little bit. Anyway, so what are you showing us here, Artie?
Okay, well, this is Port Kembla. It's now a maintenance facility or semi-maintenance facility. I was going to continue on from the beach where I did last week, but because I'm waiting on test results, I want to keep away from the idiots in town. So,
Sure.
and semi-public holiday, I thought I'll better off just come here and show the maintenance facility and whatnot. There's still a bit of history around this area. So this building here is actually one of the original administration buildings that still exists on the line that was built in probably the late 50s.
Oh,
Even
really?
though the standards have been changed, but if you ever want to be we call them train drivers or work on the railways, this is where you actually have to come in and apply for a position.
Okay.
And to get a job in the railways here, particularly in this state, you pretty much have to wait for someone to die or leave. I know it sounds bad, doesn't it?
I've been at places like that too, where it's somebody has to die or retire in order to get a job.
Yeah.
Thomas Grassi, hello everyone. Hope you're all having a good weekend.
So, this shed that we got here, this was built in, I think it was mid to late 70s. It has been reshootted, but now what they're doing here, they're doing all the heavy repairs and modifications in the shops, doing engine swaps,
Oh yeah.
wheel changes. Sadly, as I said, they lost the contract to Steelworks, so it's very, very quiet. That roller door is usually open. That roller door is usually open. You can actually see them working there.
Yeah. Container Man, retiring sounds better than dying. I have to agree with you there, Roy.
Yeah, me too.
Is that the same Progress Rail company that we have over here?
Beg your pardon?
That facility said Progress Rail. Is that the same Progress Rail company we have here in the States?
Yeah, well, that's where they came from.
Oh, they did?
I think they either came from the United States or they came from the UK. Actually, I think they came from the UK.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this gives you an idea. Here's a placard here for this bridge, made in the 1930s. Believe it or not, this used to be the original main road.
Oh, really?
Through here. Yeah. Before they'd done the wharf. Now, if you guys watch my early live stream, the walk and talk where I was at the steelworks, the road came in after this one. Yeah. If that makes sense. But
Yeah, it does.
yeah. Now this is the end of the line here. Now, as you can see from the maintenance facility, there were.
If you don't mind me asking, I might have missed it earlier. What rail line is this? What company is this? Like, is this
Okay.
like CSX, Norfolk Southern? I mean, what is it there? What is that?
Okay. The line itself is actually government owned.
Okay.
The tracks itself. It's owned by the state government. Each state runs its own. Basically, runs the maintenance of rail. Now, Pacific National is a subsidiary of the state government, which initially formed in New South Wales, but a joint venture with South Australian government. They sort of they've sort of like privatised the rail system, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So Pacific National is basically public owned company now, but still government owned. Government's still got a finger in the pie, but they still got to compete for the contracts and everything else as a private company can.
Well, does the government maintain the rail then? Is it their
Yes.
job to maintain it?
Yes. Yeah. So for you to get good trackage rights on the line here, you actually got to meet the government requirements. Government controls the line. So if you want to run a train here, yeah, you can. You just have to pay for the track usage.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
We do have private companies. Pacific National, it's made up of. Ron might be able to correct me, and even Gary might be able to correct me here. I think it's made up of 3-4 former government freight. It's basically a government freight entity.
All right.
All the freight that the government used to carry by rail.
The Container Man Roy wanted to say, Artie, what province or is it state are you living in?
Okay. The state that I live in is called New South Wales. We're still like the middle state on the east coast. We count Tasmania. That's an island. The railways here, we're the ones that start off with the standing gauge. Victoria, where Ron Bryce is, let me get rid of this spammer. Where Ron Bryce is, that was Victoria. They actually had broad gauge, similar to the Russians. You got the northern state. You had the narrow gauge, but now everything's standardising to 4'8". Okay.
Tom says retirement is overrated. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it could be and could not be. I mean, you can either get bored or what, So,
yeah.
Now, the line used to go underneath this bridge. I'm going to try to get across without being run over.
Yeah, don't get run over. We like you enough already. We don't want you to get hit by a car or anything.
A lot of the rail around here used to have the British influence, right?
Yeah, well, I would imagine, yeah.
So like within our state, like all the rail gauge and the axle gauges and that, it's all to the British standard. Now,
Is that what you're, that's what I think what the Container Man was asking, why the different gauges. Is that what you were answering?
Well, how the best way to put it? It was like, mine's better than yours. That's what the system was. Right? Our gauge is better than yours and whatnot. But when it came to transporting freight by road around the country, it became inefficient because they noticed, particularly down in the south, that it was costing them a fortune with transferring freight between standard gauge to broad gauge. So they end up putting an dedicated line of standard gauge to go right through, and that came in through the late 60s, early 70s to go from Sydney to Melbourne. Going up north, up in Queensland, because of all the flooding and whatnot, in some ways narrow gauge is more suited than one of these standard gauge lines. Now, if you got, wait for this bus to go past. Now, if you see where that train is in the background there, all through here we used to have holding facilities for freight cars, and it ended up being a scrapyard for cutting up the old passenger cars and whatnot. But where that train's sitting, that's actually loaded with cement. That's on 20-foot containers that was loaded from, oh, we can't see, we'll see a bit later, but there's a cement works just around the corner.
Oh, okay.
And they take it up to Sydney and up the far north coast. Yeah, Frogger, yeah. But yeah, we used to have, through here, we used to have a line that it used to be like a wide junction here, like the train's engines would be able to go up straight around to the other track there, but that's all been cut out. In the distance there, we had a copper smelter, and a smelter where they did the gold smeltering and that. Up in the corner, that's all gone. And to the left where this stack is, that used to be the fertilizer plant. Of course, with all the slag and impurities coming from the copper smelter plant, they were able to make fertilizer out of it.
It's not there anymore, huh?
No. And now it's come, well, they sold off to the Chinese, and now it's come to bite them on the backside. Big time.
Okay.
So where you guys see all these piles of dirt and sand, that's going to be part of our new container terminal, which is getting constructed at the moment. I'm just going to wander off at the moment. Hopefully I've got enough battery power to walk up to where the old jetties used to be. Actually, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do an audio. I'm going to go and jump in the car and drive around. Saves me walking anyway.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot to see in this area. So I'll just go and grab my 1-ton Lantra. Yeah. There has been a lot of change. There's still a lot of remains that are around here from the late 40s and 50s. You can still see some of the track work. Where I'm going to go to now is one of the first jetties in the outer berth. Because this outer terminal was built, I say the mid-40s, just after World War II.
Okay.
No, it was actually made before World War II hit. Because the Wollongong jetty that was where I streamed from last week was just getting a little bit too small, and the steel plant here was actually kicking off, so they had to bring a lot of the raw commodities back in.
Hey,
Here we go, train in.
Hey, Nisi says hi.
Hi, Nisi.
She just popped in, and then Container Man was asking, does Australia have well cars like we have in the U.S., or you just use flat cars for your containers?
Yes, we do have well cars.
Okay.
We don't have them in well, they do come down here with containers, but they're not double stacked because they won't fit in through the tunnels.
Oh, I see.
right? Double stacks you will see out west going across into West Australia.
All right.
Basically from Adelaide west. But we do one thing better, or one thing. Well, I wouldn't say better, but more imaginative. Hey, Joe.
You're here.
We actually double stack on normal flat cars going across the desert.
Ryan Brace. Wheel
Yeah, we
cars
do use
and skilling.
Yeah, they're what you guys call spine cars.
Oh, spine. Okay.
Right, we call them skills here. Okay, I'm doing a naughty. All right, we're going around to the other side of the where you see that cement train. We'll go to the back end of it where the track comes out on the original number
Cool.
1 G. It will just save me a lot of walking. There's plus it's hot. It's really hot and muggy out here at the moment. It's
Oh, is it?
The temperature's about 94 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Humidity about 81, 82.
No, it does look like it'd be a little. Now that you tell me the temperature, it does look like it could be one of those humid-looking days, kind of hazy.
Yeah. Yeah, don't let the clouds fool you. They're brewing to another storm. So there's one of the original fertilizer tanks.
Cool.
That's actually been turned into an office block.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat, though.
Oh, yeah.
Repurposing.
A lot of the areas have been reused. We recycle nearly everything here. Like you see this big stockpile of dirt here and rock. That's actually came out from a project in town where they actually dug out probably about 5 stories deep, 6 stories deep. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna find a spot here to park and just park on the other side of the railway line.
Yeah, container man says a double stack walk car is 16 foot roughly. It's double high cubes, 9 foot 6 inch containers a piece. So
yeah, well, see, with me being in transport, I had an incident where I had to actually transport about 190 odd containers between here and top end of Queensland up towards the what do you call it? Towards the Great Barrier Reef. But they were high cube containers. And my problem was trying to get them on the railway carriage to get it up there without hitting the tunnels. But when it got to Queensland, they had to get offloaded from one train and onto another. So the only way I was able to do it is actually transport up by transport them up by road, but even that was challenging enough. So this is what's left of the fertilizer plant now and the rails. They've dressed a lot of this up here now. Number 2 jetty's been taken out. It was all just rotted up, but you can see all the maze of the old track work on the road.
oh yeah.
And
What's that building there? The white building.
that white there, that's actually was a storage shed for we used to keep urea in there, which is your fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
But now it's just a storage shed for. Actually, they're building steel house frames in there now. The only thing that's left of the fertilizer plant is behind these trees here.
Okay.
Because I still can get certain amount of sulfate out of the steelworks. Now, I don't have... Excuse me. I'm just going to walk away from these seagulls.
They're going to get you, man. Jump on and take a ride.
Beg your pardon?
I said jump on and take a ride. On the seagulls.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no thanks. Now, between here and to where you guys can see that ship in the distance at the wharf, all along through here was a huge maze of tracks. Now you can imagine that one's number 6, so there was another 3 jetties, another 3 wharfs up in between here, but they got demolished mid-70s, late 70s. I remember going with my stepdad on them to do some fishing. Then they had them removed.
And Joe Rader and Split Rock both said those aren't seagulls; they look like pelicans.
Oh, there were seagulls there. I know the difference between my pelicans and seagulls. At least our pelicans look healthy. Look at them. Means that we've got plenty of good junk food here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like those McDonald's fries.
Oh no, they're vicious over here. Like we have our burgers, like your proper Aussie hamburgers, or even a meat pie. They'll snatch it out of your hand as you're trying to put it in your mouth.
No joke.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Yeah. As you can see where the grass is grown, this is the old rail. I was going to actually hoping to get some measurements for what's his name, Jason, the train freak.
You didn't bring a tape measure.
Yeah. There are some of the tracks where they're blue. You guys call them pickups, we call them ute. There is some sections of track there, but yeah, all the fishermen out here, I'm not going to bother with it this time around. I might be lucky to see it up in here, because this is the old method of the trackages that they was built in the, say, the late 50s. And all this rail here was manufactured here in the local steel mill. Yeah, so a lot of it's gone. This is what it looks like now. To try to get out of the ARC fencing here. So that's the original. Can't zoom in, unfortunately, but that's the original. That's what our original wooden jetties used to look like. That was up along here.
Yeah. Ron Bryce said before you know it, there'll be high-rise apartments there.
Not here. Not on this section. This section here, this is always going to remain heavy industrial. For the amount of money that's been invested in this area, it's they won't put high rises here. In Wollongong, where I was, yeah, but you got the grey structure in the background there that produces cement, and they get the clinker from up the mountain and down from not far from where Ron is. They ship it up here. All this rock that I said, as we recycle, all this is going to be part of the new. You can see them on the edge there. They're starting to bring the old jetty out. That's going to be a new container berth there. In the corner, I'm going to try to get through this ARC fence, and the old original part of the coal loader which is just on the other side of that bank there. They're putting a hydrogen plant in there. So to have high rises here, we're not going to have it. They're just investing billions and billions and billions of dollars in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is. And where you guys see those pylons on the end there, that's where all the boats come in and get the oil from the steelworks and ethanol as well as another facility on the other side there. We do produce ethanol out of wheat flour here.
Oh wow. Okay.
Further
So
up
now
north,
this is all along the coast, right? That inlet takes you out to the ocean, I'm assuming.
yes.
Not like way in country.
On the other side of that seawall, that's the seawall in the background there. I'm not going to go there now. Too many terrorists in there. I mean, tourists, Sydneyites. But up on the other side, that a lot of us locals call Sydney people down here Sydneyites. They bring all that trouble and rubbish down.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that seawall, that's your Pacific Ocean.
Oh, okay. I figured it was, but I just thought I would ask.
Yeah. Okay, how deep is the water here? Okay, in the channel that you come in through the middle there and up through the guts to the other side, I think it's about 120 feet, 130 feet deep, and it was all dredged out. Come out to the side here and it's probably about 50, 60, 70 feet up in this section here. That part there, they're going to be dredging it out. That's only about 60 feet, but they're going to be dredging it out to 100 feet. And where that bulk carrier is over there, the general purpose ship there, she's 80 feet deep there. So that gives you an idea of the depth of it. The inner harbour...
All sounds deep to me.
Yeah. Where those white wheat silos are in the distance, we'll see them later on, that was all dredged out and that was all reclaimed, and they done some, filled in some swamp land and whatnot, and it's 90 feet deep there. The big giant bulk carriers and the oil tankers, they can't come in here. They cannot come into this harbour fully loaded at low tide, because they'll actually hit out at the bottom, if that makes sense. They sit a fair bit. I mean, their draft and whatnot sits quite deep.
Yeah.
Our biggest bulk carrier.
I guess they would have to.
Yeah, the biggest dry bulk carrier we had here used to be owned by BHP, and that was the Iron Pacific. She could only come in here during high tide. We'll go around the other side where they unload the iron ore ships, but during low tide, she'd actually sit on the bottom of the harbour. It gives you an idea how deep she was. I don't know where that ship's ended up. Either she's gone, I think she's gone to Hong Kong or somewhere like that, with a new owner. She's still sailing. Her sister ship, the Iron Kembler, it missed the bottom by about an inch off the bottom during low tide. And that's where they were fully loaded. If people are interested in seeing some old photos of this area, I will put a link in later on.
Okay.
Of what this area looked like on Facebook. There's a page called Lost Wollongong. If you type in that, there is actually a lot of old railway photos of the Illawarra and the Wollongong area, particularly where I'm walking along through now. Lost Wollongong did have a dedicated railway section in there too. when I find it, I'll share the link with the group. So we're very fishy here. Something smells fishy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a guys from the fish market. This is how fresh it is. They caught it this morning and it's going straight to the markets. Yeah.
Well, that's
Can't
the way to
get
do
fresh.
it, right?
You get all the jewfish, snappers, mullet. Actually, they got some nice mullets in here in Taylor. There's a little control tower in the background there where my finger is. That controls all the shipping going in and out. And yes, there used to be a rower line going up around the corner there, but I'm not going to go there now because there's too many, as I said, too many terrorists. Oh, sorry, Sydneyites down here. All right, we'll go around to we'll draw around up to number 6 jetty, I think. Actually, no, we'll go to the other side of the Port Kembla rail yard, the main entrance.
All right. Sounds fun.
It's not far, but too far to walk in a short time.
I said it sounds fun.
Initially, all this track that's here on this side here, it's all going to get dug up. And they'll put some new factories or something in there.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, they are spending a lot of money here. But we don't know what this new governor's going to do. He's a bit of a... I don't really like talking about politics, but this governor is an idiot. Everybody else is saying exactly the same thing. Anyway, so... those that come down this way, you guys want to get used to the roundabouts here in Australia.
You guys got a lot of those? Seems to be a European thing. And well, you guys too, but obviously you have the European influence from England and that, but we don't tend to do a whole lot of those here.
Yeah. That's part of the loop here. Going up to the right there.
What is that?
That's part of the loop. We got a balloon loop here. That takes you around the yard. You know, like how we got those staging areas under our layouts and that?
Yeah.
Where you go around in a loop. Well, that's what we have here. We've got, this is the main one. I'm just going to go left up in here. We have two main balloon loops. This is one here, the original one. Then you have another one down near the coal loader. This used to be all part of the rail yard. It used to be a one-stop facility for all the freight carriages. Used to come in here to get repaired, but now it's, as you can see, they put sheds on it. They sold it all out and rented it all out. Geez, a lot of the old freight cars are gone. Yeah. Let me get up the top here. You can just see some flat cars in the distance there. They're all ready to be chopped up. Bit of Chinese steel.
Yeah.
That breaks up like, it goes all flaky.
I don't know, Container Man and Joe Rader both said they're building a bunch of these roundabout things. I don't know where, around, I guess. Container Man, exactly where, building roundabouts here like they're going out of style. Joe is in Maryland.
they're a good thing if people know how to use them. But a lot of people don't know how to use them.
Yeah, we don't have too much this way. Not by me.
Yeah, that's the part of the old. There's part of the old shed there, where the railway carriages used to get serviced in and out of all the
Yeah, okay.
freight cars. With the passenger cars, they did do all the heavy duty repairs on the diesel hauled railway carriages.
It's like a pretty cool area. A lot of activity there.
Oh yeah, there is. It's actually surprisingly enough, it's not as busy as what it used to be. It used to be a lot busier than it is now. Now it's a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Now this is the head of the rail yard. Now that railway crossing I went over before, being part of the balloon loop, it brings you out to here. Now Cube is the company that's got the contract to haul the steel for steelworks. Now these are GEs, the modified GEs. They're based on the 4400s, I think it is. Now we've got another spammer. Well, you see, Container Man, Ron, over here, we've actually got signs on the back of the trucks beyond our rigs which says, do not overtake a turning vehicle. And that actually applies in roundabouts too. If one of these big trucks are going through a roundabout, because technically they are turning, you're not allowed to overtake them. So if you get collected by one, you're in fault, which is different compared to the United States, where the truck driver has to basically give way to anyone that gets underneath them. Over here, the car's got to give way to the trucks that come underneath. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's right. The person that's already in the roundabout has the right of way. Anyone on the outside of the roundabout has to yield, or as we say, give way. Yeah, these ones here are American built, shipped over, these engines here. And I just see in the background, hang on a minute. I just see in the background a Chinese made engine. Oh. Oh, it's a shame I can't zoom in. But there's a pair of engines just behind that one there. There's a pair of them behind it. They're actually, it's got the EMD engines in them, but they're actually built and constructed in China. Now, these flat cars in the distance here, this one here, they were actually used to transport steel that was out of gauge. Like your wide steel. Since you can't, what happens with those carriages is they actually flip to the side so they can actually transport the wider plate. And what is that? This. Yeah. But if they end up doing the same system they go and have here in Australia, I mean, there'll be a lot less accidents with semi-trailers, and especially when they're making their is it left turns, right turns. They won't be taking so many buildings out. Now, where this tree stands and this bush used to stand a switching tower. for this whole complex here. It's all manually controlled now until you get under the bridge there.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Looks like a pretty big place.
Yeah, it is. Now, those wagons in the background, they're from Pacific National, and they've been put in there for storage since they don't have the contract no longer. And these ones here, they car the coils mainly between here and Melbourne, sometimes Brisbane. But with the stories that I've heard that Pacific National have been doing, there's no surprise that they actually lost the contract. I'm surprised they didn't lose it earlier. Like losing railway carriages for 6 months in the siding, and one of them, the longest one, was 14 months with a plate of steel. It was in the wrong destination. It was only about like 3,000 miles from the wrong destination. So I'm just going to go up to the top of the Y junction as far as I'm permitted to go without my so I haven't got appropriate safety boots. The Outback Aussie safety boots do not apply here.
Such a rebel.
I can go as far as this gate here because I know after that gate I'm on railway property. So this basically is your Y junction for the loop. It starts and finishes here. I think Nissi. I think Nissi was on one of my live streams where I'd done the walk and talk from the mills, steel mills rail yard. We actually walked over the top of that bridge. That bridge wasn't always there. Used to be a railway crossing underneath. So what would actually happen is, generally, when a freight train comes from the mill or it even comes from the interstate, we'll take this line here, you'll run around the loop and come out from where we were at the Port Kembla station and comes up through there. So it alleviates turntables, and all the running around. They try to reduce the switching because you haven't really got much room for switching. Because on the other side of that stanchion, where the edge of that stanchion is, that's the main line there. That goes to Sydney. The other side, you only got basically, if you're doing a switching, you only really got probably about a 20-minute window to do your switching. I messed up there. And that's how they do the signalling with our switches here. They only got the yellow and green. Basically, green is just straight through, and yellow is thrown.
So what's that over top of the tracks there? Just above that switch? Is that a light?
No, they're actually it's a reflective sign. You're talking about this thing here?
No, right above it. It goes over top of the tracks. So are those electric lines?
Yes.
Yeah, is it electric?
Yeah, that's for our passenger trains. We did actually have, when electrification came in, we had the electrified line going straight in here for our freight trains. But they got rid of them all, which is unfortunate. Because it would have been good to still see some electric engines down in this area, but it's gone all diesel. It pretty much went all diesel once they started privatising the system. Deregulated. You can see where there was a drum and knocked the stanchion on the corner. So anyway, I'm going to walk out of here. Yeah, it used to be very busy in here. I mean, in the early days when I went to be train spotting, when I in my younger days, I mean, you had trains going here pretty much every 60 seconds or so. But now, look, with our freight movement here, all our freight movement's basically on the closest thing you're getting a daytime running is on a Sunday afternoon. Everything else ends up happening after 8 o'clock at night. That's just after the last peak service from Sydney arrives from here to here. Then they'll send all the the steel train. The first steel train head up north leaves here about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And that's just after the peak traffic. I did a lot of work in here doing these. So there's concrete light towers. I did a lot of work in here, putting them in. Hey Nancy, how are you? Oh, my battery power is just about gone. So I'm not going to be able to show you guys the number 6 Jetty. Oh, hang on, I can go in the car and just juice it up for 5 seconds.
Hey, Nancy had a question.
Yeah.
Says, Artie, do they have restrictions like they do here in some U.S. states about how much of certain freight, such as oil, comes in and out?
Okay. None of the only restriction we got on rail at now is we do not have any flammable goods, like your petrol, your crude oils, LPG gas. We don't have any of that anymore on our rail network. You may get occasional 20-foot containers on the container trains, but you know, like you have your how you have your tanker trains over there. We don't have them. We not have had them since 89, I think it was, when there was a big train derailment down south of here, south of Canberra, and it created a lot of dramas. It actually, even to this day, there's nothing been grown on that plot of land. And ever since that train derailment, and that was loaded with petrol. Ever since that, hey Casco, ever since that train derailment, they actually stopped hauling fuel, particularly in this state, by rail. One day I'll jump on one of these trains and I will go up through the national park. The Royal National Park is the second oldest national park in the world after Yellowstone. If that makes sense. Yeah. But a lot of our streams also where our trains run through is actually part of our water catchment area. So you can imagine if one of those fuel trains and tanker trains derailed, it'll contaminate all our drinking water.
Yeah.
So they just alleviate. We do have a lot of road tankers, but what they've done is instead of using, what they also done is they've also created fuel pipelines. Like between here and Melbourne, we've got a gas pipeline. They've also got oil and fuel pipelines that goes between states. Actually, no, they don't. Sorry, I lie. All we got is the natural gas pipeline. Any oil or fuel that gets transported state to state actually goes by ship.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We did cut crude oil from top end of Northern Territory by road into Adelaide, but we didn't have the GAN line in there. Oh, look, we got... Here's something for you guys. You might be interested in it. A Danish Diesel. Pair of Danish Diesel engines. That was imported from Denmark. And they use them on our rail facility. Now, all this steel now is coming in from the steelworks. They'll be switched.
That's pretty cool.
Casco, yeah. Yeah, there are some that still drink water over here. But it's funny how they end up going out and buying bottled water when... That's right, Great Divide. That's what they are. Thomas, I think they're 3,500 or 4,000 horsepower. They've actually been very reliable engines, and they've been able to handle the hot weather conditions out west, where we get our grain and cotton from. Q basically did all the exporting and whatnot for it. Q brought them in, or Independent Rail. I think there is actually 10 of them in this country. Ha, Danish cheese. Yeah, yes, I bought. Yeah, they were 3.5 horsepower. I don't know if they still are. I remember they tweaked them a little bit when they brought them in to suit the Australian conditions. But yeah, they've been nearly as good as good and reliable as our old little Alcos we had here. And because the axle loading and that on them, they actually can go anywhere. So this steel train here, or these cars, these will be going out tonight. Now, these two little, you see this small little car here with the two coils on. Let me get in a good spot. Where you guys see these short cars with the coils on, they were actually used to be our old livestock carriages that were converted into container cars. And they're still running pretty well too. They've just taken the floors off and redone the frames on it. And yeah, nothing gone to waste, but I'm just waiting for the moment till they get cut up too. I'll get over to the other side of the... Oh, let me just get my safety harness on. We'll go around number 6 jetty while I still got... oh, geez. The charger doesn't want to charge up. They call it progress, but when they privatised it or floated the company, the rail side of things, everything, a lot of people lost their jobs.
Thanks, guy.
Yeah, anything
colored lights.
Yeah, they actually look that looks cool.
Yeah, that looks kind of a nighttime look, huh?
Yeah.
I just figured you guys get tired of looking at my my ugly mug. Yes, SpongeBob SquareCabs. Like I say, ScoutTrain's introduced it to our GP30. today? Was there a 4
Yeah,
axle, first
saw
4
that.
axle release?
Yeah, that's cool. That.
Yeah.
I see they're doing the CSX slugs too in the first
Yeah.
batch. Got to get me a
Yeah.
couple of those. It's going to save me cutting the ones, modify the ones that I've got at home up to turn them into a slug.
Yeah, I think they saved me some money this time. I don't think I'm gonna get any of those.
You call it saving, I don't know. They just giving me a bigger headache because Oxygen has actually came out with one of the passenger sets that are coming out later in the year. The Harris sets that used to run in Victoria. They released that as well in the last week.
Yeah.
So
That
I'm
is
going
so
to be.
weird. You're driving
I'm
on the
going
wrong
to.
side of the road.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go down here, the number 6 jetty. I'm going to get down the wharf. And I'm going to have to cut the stream off down here because my battery power ain't charging up quick enough.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna need to get out of here pretty soon, anyways. Let's see, Low Country. Yeah, I'm doing 2 levels. Carolina Foothills. Yep, GP30 is what they put out. I'm gonna get some. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the ones that they put out. The slugs
Yeah.
might be cool. The CSX slugs. I'm kind of hoping to do something that I can. I was hoping for an undecorated one, honestly, because I was going to paint it up for the Hooker River and Eastern Railroad. But, it's all right. I think it looks like they said they're going to maybe do a chassis unit next time. So I may hold out for that one. And they're just just in the river counter, and they tend to be doing that. It seems like they're getting less and less on the operator stuff, especially with their locomotives. It's kind of sad, really. I mean, I usually go with the river counters, with the locomotives. Now, freight cars, I usually go with operator. But it's just kind of a shame that they have less and less now with the operator locomotives.
Yeah. I mean, they look good. I mean, I'll probably get a couple of them, but
They went almost $300 for those things.
yeah,
I mean,
as I said,
they've
I'll
all gone up. I mean, they're all been between $250, $300. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like these are like 280 something. The list on them.
the Harris sets, the passenger set that I've got coming. See, they're worth $700-800 a set. You know, so
Oh yeah.
it's going to cost a lot of money, but those are going to be the last ones that I do. So anyway, guys, I'm going to finish off here just quickly. This is the outer harbour looking on the inner harbour. I'll do up.
They're upside down, aren't they? Yeah, Joe, I would go with the P&O too. I don't know. I'm debating, guys. I might do a different era on the top level. I don't know. It's gonna put my intermodal up there though, so it's not gonna really work out to do a different era. But every once in a while, I kind of wouldn't mind going backwards. I could always run older stuff, just because I want to. Carolina Foothills. The backdrops are from Trackside Scenery. I just got them maybe a week or 2 ago. Just put them up last weekend, and that's just part of the layout. I have a lot more to do. So I don't know if Artie's battery died on him or what, but apparently I'm doing the show now. But I don't see any comment anywhere that he's gone. I'm looking through the comments. Let's see. But the nice thing, talking about Ian back here, because he runs N scale. I know a lot of you guys do, but he it was nice to see that they included the N scale in the 4-axle too. A lot of times they only do the HO scale first, anyways, and then they go from there. But it was nice to see that they offered that. So it's kind of nice for the N scale guys. But I don't know. I like the fact that they're doing the 4-axle. I just want one for my switch yard. So I'm like thinking about an undecorated one. I may just pick up something to do it. So, and I'm surprised that they did Rio Grande, and they did 2 different Rio Grande schemes, and then they did the Union Pacific with that B unit. It's kind of surprised that they. Well, it really surprised me more that they did 2 Rio Grandes. They could have done just one version, saved one for the next time, and added in like a Southern or Norfolk Southern or something. I know there's a Norfolk Western. I don't know, maybe Norfolk Southern didn't have any of those. There had to be some other rail line that had them. The GP30s that they could have added in there instead of 2 of the Rio Grandes. But hey, the main thing is now they have the molds. Now they have the beginnings of the ability to do the 4-axle. Now that they have the the molds and everything, so it can only kind of go from there, I would assume. So that's a good thing. I know guys have been really wanting it, and so that's cool. That's good news, I guess. And with the MTH, yeah, Conrail would have been nice. It was really nice. One of their employees, Rio Grande, is because one of their employees. Maybe, I think the next round they're going to do a Burlington Northern. They said I briefly watched that video, kind of skimmed through it. Well, these pre-orders, if you're going to get one of these, I think they're due sometime in February. I'm subscribed to their YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff and newsletter, so I get the emails and everything, and they have stuff coming out. But the stream will not die till he ends it. He needs to find a way to get back in and end the stream. I see. All right. Even if I leave, it won't die. I guess that's right. He started it, so he's got to stay on it, and he has to end it. The Reading Northern would be really neat in GP30s. I could get something, any of them, and just patch it out for the Crooked River Eastern, become a zombie stream, become a Jack stream, zombie stream. I could just stay on here and let this thing run around. It works much better if I don't try to put too many cameras up. I just have that view, the view facing me, which I could turn that camera. There he is. Maybe. Hey, we left you. We're on our own thing. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he dropped the phone. I must have scared him. Yeah, Split Rock. These run nice. These are scale trains. The SD40-3 SpongeBob SquareCams. They are rivet counters. I turned the volume off because it tends to mess with things. I'm just running a little mixed freight. I am going to probably later after this maybe post a video. Hey, Grandpa Rouse. Artie's having some technical difficulties here. I did do a little switching operation this morning, and I've been kind of on and off editing it all day because nobody wants to watch a 40-minute switching operation. I don't want to watch a 40-minute switching operation of me, manually unhooking cars and everything. But I'm going to probably post that here in a little bit, either tonight or tomorrow morning. Let's see, Ian said, I just always thought the Elco C420 and EMD GP30 would have needed 4 axles. Yeah, I like the old Elcos, man. Since I'm running, maybe you guys could help me out on this. I'm going to ask a question to the group. I'm going to hijack the stream as long as I'm here. So I'm running modern day. I want to patch out or repaint something in my Crooked River and Eastern scheme as a switching, unit, and they will be who controls or not controls, who switches between the yard here and then builds trains for the CSX trains. Now, for modern day, for a 4-axle switcher, what would be something that would a short line would like? How far back can I go? Like a GP30, is that too old? Would a short line still have that? Or would I need to go maybe a GP40, 40-2, something like that? Anybody have any ideas? Any clue on that? Because I want to keep it somewhat prototypical. Right now I only have modern day high hood GP38 Norfolk Southern. Okay. Well, I have a GP7. I'm not honestly. Don't anybody hate me. I'm not a big fan of the high hoods, like that kind of look. I guess that would be something that would be still modern day. GP38 and GP40, they just sold a bunch. Okay. Non-turbocharged engine, preferably. Short line here runs a GP15. Okay. Now, how old are those GP15s, Joe? Is that something that would be a common thing? Or is that like, I guess I need to research some of the smaller short line railroads around here just to see, like Ohio Central or something like that. I bet you Pappy would know what they run. GP7U. Because I have a GP7. I just felt that they wouldn't be any of those anymore hanging around. It'd be too old. They'd have been scrapped by now. GP7s, 9s, that kind of stuff. The high hoods off and put Spartan cabs on. I can see that. Because honestly, I've seen guys that have used basically, say, like, the one guy, Chris, the one that does all the paintings for me, his short line is a Tennessee River Union Railroad. Now, one of his is a patched out Norfolk Southern. His older than GP30, you can run a GP35 or 38 too. Okay. GP7 years of rebuilt low nose. Okay. MP15 ACs were in the market about 5 years ago. Are those like the split rack? Are those the traditional looking switcher units? MP15 ACs. Honestly, I feel like I've seen one over here not too far over by the Chevy plant here in Cleveland a couple years back. Yeah, Ian, SD38, I have plenty of these SD40s, Actually, I have a couple of CSX ones. I think I have a Chessie GP40, an old Athearn unit. But honestly, I have stuff here I probably could just repaint. I'm just having a hard time doing that. I'd rather buy something undecorated or if I could pick up something cheap. I did, I don't know what this one, you won't be able to see it. I picked up this Santa Fe unit. It's a 4-axle. It's some kind of Jeep. I just don't know what it is. It's got 3 grills in the back, 1 in the center. It's a Bachmann, so I don't know how prototypical it really is. It don't say what it is on here. I'm gonna turn some damn lights on. I might be able to see something. But I thought about stripping that down. It don't have sound, but it is DCC. maybe do that. You get a repeater on 40, 20 out, 73. Maybe 15 are nice. Yeah. I have a, I think it's GP15. It's a CSX unit. It runs nice. It's a Genesis. It's a Tsunami. I think no, that one's a Tsunami too. I have a couple of Tsunami like ones, the sound units in them. But I'm just gonna click. I'm thinking it's my stream. I'm trying to click on these on the comments so they come up. Ian, Delaware Lackawanna and Scranton, PSL alcohol. I love their color scheme too. I mean, it's almost like it's a cross of the old Erie Lackawanna. It kind of has the colors a little bit, but they're pretty cool. It's up there by Steamtown. Oh, you guys went up there a couple years back when we were still allowed to do that. Well, all right, I don't know where Artie's at, but I'm going to cut out of here, guys. GP50. Now, those wouldn't be around anymore, eh, Joe? GP50s? Like for me, for modern day, like 2000, what do you want to say, 2015 and later, 2000. Actually, I'm kind of pretty much like just today. But I'm going to keep a lot of my older stuff because if I get the hankering to, I'm going to go ahead and run them. I got too much stuff to get rid of it all. I may go through some of it. I got a couple Chessie engines. I got a lot of Chessie Cat coal cars, the cat on them and stuff. So I just don't want to get rid of those. Those are hard to come by. Well, you can make some money on them. A lot of guys want them. No nightmare. Okay. GP60 with me. Would GP40s or 40-2 still be running? Or is that too old now, too? I guess what I need to do is go through and just see, like, pull up CSX's roster and just kind of see what, what's on their roster still, what would still be running. I just thought since we were talking about scale trains things, if anybody would know. It may be a while. I don't know when I'll get to it anyhow. I just ordered a bunch of ground foam stuff to make trees for fall colors. Some super leaf and then some fine ground foam material. So see if I can get a little better at that. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for all the input on that. That was a good show from what I saw from Artie. A pretty cool area there. Looks like it was pretty hopping at one time. Artie's competing with Jack. No, but in a curious one. I mean, I guess I could leave this on like Jack. We'll see how long Artie can keep me on. It's kind of funny. I thought about doing one of those Jack. How he just lets them run like that. Let's see. Joe says if you're doing it for your road name, Dave, use whatever you want. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I want to stay somewhat prototypical as far as I don't want to go too old, where even a short line wouldn't be using it because it'd just be too much maintenance on it and too much whatever. So I would rather. All right, John. Anything good for dinner? We went out and had Italian tonight. It was good. I had some chicken parm. My wife had eggplant parm. It was good. So actually brought a piece of tiramisu home. I'm gonna go eat that. Nothing really is too old, Dave, in that aspect. Okay. All right. Just wondered. I I said just trying to stay somewhat in the correct era. Being a modern day. Yeah, I actually have some U-boats. I have a Chesapeake and Ohio U-boat, and I have a Chessie system U-boat in the Chessie Cat paint. I sold to Robert Sacco. Bought my Chessie U. They're all U 30s. That's all right? 30s. He bought the one sound unit I had. There's a Chessie unit. I had all three running together at one time on the other layout. Yeah, I like your era. Joe, I actually was telling my wife today that for as much as I like history, I should have done like an older era. And originally, that's what I started with. Originally, it was going to be early diesel. The earlier, what would it be, 50s, 60s, earlier in time. And then I don't know. I like these modern engines as well. Probably my favorite engine of all time would be either the GP40, 4040-2 or the SD 4040-2s. They're just a classic engine. When I think of a locomotive, that's what I think of when you know, just from my childhood growing up and stuff like that. But I like that era you're running. The 70s and 80s was when I was a kid, growing up. I'm being born in 71. So actually, in the 80s, I did get to see some of that Chessie paint up here. They were actually, I think they were based out of Cleveland. They had offices up here, anyways. And Conrail, too. Conrail was big up here. A buddy of mine's dad worked for Conrail in Cleveland. And got to take a couple rides on the switchers up and down through the yard once or twice with my buddy and his dad. Back before, security and stuff, you know what I mean? We're spinning. Oh, that's me. I can't tell you the difference between even some of the older stuff. Some of it simply is a matter of how many fans they got on the roof. I don't know how guys tell things. They just really get into it. But all right, guys, I am going to actually turn this thing off on my end, anyways. Now, what happens with Artie, I don't know. But I'm sure he would say thank you for all joining in with him, and thanks for having me in to kind of keep up with the chat for you, Artie. But cool, man. You guys all enjoy your nights, enjoy your day over there, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.
Hey, folks. Yeah, sorry about all that. Phone went dead. So anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys all during the week. Bye for now.